Well, hello friends, and welcome back to my hobby home. My name is Kathy. If you are new here, welcome. I like to do a lot of chit-chatting and a lot of sewing, and I'm going to be bringing you guys along with me. Yes, I'm starting a new project, and I only have 101 of them already not done, but it's okay. They will all get done. This is a quick project here. Is it going to be done today? No, probably not. I am just coming here because I needed a new brain refresher today. We are on Vlogmas day 27. And I just needed something a little different today. And I know I'm not the only one. Y'all forgive me, my nose is itching today. We are having upwards of 80 degrees today. Not in the upper 80s, but 80 degrees. And then we will slowly be coming down to Monday. We will be in the 40s, I believe. Monday, our high is supposed to be like 50. But friends, y'all see I'm doing something here. I am working on a pattern that came in my Soft Squares Advent box. It is called Charmed, I'm sure, quilt pattern. I'm sure this is probably a free pattern that you can get off of Moda's website. But I thought, you know, I really like this pattern, and I've seen a lot of them like this all over the place, but I've just never done one. So I thought, why not? I've got plenty of charm packs, and I had some extra background. I was at the end of a bolt of my white. I'm trying to think what it was called. Cloud white, I think. It's a Riley. I think it's a Riley Blake. So on this, we're going to be doing half square triangles with 2 prints and then 20 of our backgrounds. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and mark my backgrounds in my 2 print squares, because guys, I'm not that good. I cannot lay the fabric on my machine and line up and know that I'm going right. No, I'm not that good. So what I'm doing is just marking all my fabrics here and just setting them up here. I'm still in preparations for Christmas with my children, being that I have one that is 4.5 hours away from me, and his wife works weekends. They're not able to come. You know, they weren't able to make it for the holiday, for Christmas, but what we all decided to do was celebrate Christmas on New Year's. I'm making sure my kids get all their greens and their black eyed peas and their ham hock, cornbread. I'm making sure they get all of that so they'll have a good year. We don't want a bad year this year. We've had moves and health things. I've had health things. I'm hoping that gets better. My doctor is trying me on another medication for my diabetes. And I know somebody's probably sitting in their living room going, honey, just push away from the table. I could eat lettuce and my blood sugar goes up. This is all post the fungolitis, the big C. This is all post that. I could drink water and my sugar goes up. It's just very crazy. And of course with that, I'm sure I'm insulin resistant, and you know, we're dealing with all of that. I am not worried about the weight. I'm sure once I get the sugar settled and kind of figured out, that will come along with it. I know several people have told me, like GLP medications. I was on GLP for 2 years. Yes, I lost 60 pounds. And you'll notice when I started my YouTube channel, I was a lot lighter. That's because I was 60 pounds lighter. And I I was on GLP medications, but I couldn't eat and I couldn't live. I was sick all the time, and you might not have been able to tell it in the videos, but every day I suffered with severe stomach pains. Now, a lot of people it works on, and that is fabulous. I'm so happy it does work on some people. I was really hoping it would work with me, but for 2 years I had severe abdominal pains. I was on Ozempic and Mounjaro. I'm just kind of giving you a quick background information if you're new. But now, you know, I've told my doctor I'm not really interested. You know, yes, would I love to lose weight? Absolutely, I would love to lose weight. A lot of this is born from all of the steroids I had to take after the fact, trying to get well. I mean, then alone I was on 2 steroid shots a day because I was in the hospital and almost did not make it. I was one of those that refused the vent because I was determined if I was not going to survive it, my kids were not going to remember me looking that way. And because I had a friend that had passed away from that. And I truly believe, well, I had a couple friends pass away with it. But I truly believe the vent is what took them down because their extremities were turning black. They were having lack of oxygen. And if the machine is supposed to be breathing for them, that's the problem. But I refused the vent and I survived. I prayed long and hard. I told the Lord I couldn't come home yet because I didn't have any grandbabies. And what'd he do? Just, let's see, that was in 2021. 2 years later, I had 2 grandbabies. Within 4 months of each other. One was born in August and one was born in December. And they are the light of my world. I am telling you, them 2 little sugar bears are the light of my world. I couldn't exist without them. You know you love your children unconditionally. And you always see that saying, Mama Bear. It's not Mama Bear you got to worry about. It's Gigi Bear you got to worry about. Mama Bear is pretty tough. But when it comes to them grandbabies, oh my goodness. That is a completely different kind of love. You develop patience you did not know you had. I didn't know I had the patience I have. I mean, my grandson, he's the closest one, my grandson. He can be having a meltdown, and which in turn causes my daughter to have a meltdown. Because, you know, as a mama to a 2-year-old, you're sleep deprived, nutrition deprived, sunlight deprived. She works a lot of hours. She got a promotion at her job, and now she is the, I'm not going to say office manager, because it's not office manager. She's like intake manager. And she's manager over the positions that are in her area. That's just easier to say. And so, you know, she's running on fumes all the time. Because let me tell you, there is nothing that has more energy than a 2-year-old little boy. And he thinks he's supposed to be outside all the time. Well, they don't live in the country. They live on a main road. And they're about to fix that, though. They're about to sign papers on a home. And I know I've said I'm not real happy about them being so far away, and I'm not. But I know they've got to do what they've got to do, because that baby needs to live out in the country where he can be outside. He got him a little 4-wheeler for his birthday, and he's been 4-wheeling it with his daddy. every day since he got it. So, I'm okay with them moving. I hate for me that they're going to be so far away. And I've told my husband, we need to be looking at the house. It's a family compound. It's got 3 houses on it. They sold one of the houses. The other house, they released to the bank. I've heard some things, but I'm not exactly sure why released to the bank. What I've heard is job relocation. And, they have to sell their home. Well, and the bank, I've heard, they just turned it over to the bank. So, whatever happened, it doesn't matter. But it's still on a family compound, and the father still lives on the property. So, you come by his house first. And then behind his house, on the left side of the drive is the father's house. And on the right side of the drive was his father's house. And like on the back part of the property was the daughter's house. Well, I think the daughter's husband is the one that got relocated. But they're wanting a lot of money for that. It's a mobile home. And they're wanting over $200,000 for it. And I'm like, no. But it's been like this for a year, I think. And no one has, probably because it's on a family compound. But I'd be fine with it. Because we found out that we actually know the man that we know, not the grandfather, but we know the father and the daughter. So I would be fine living out there because I didn't grow up in that area, but I grew up in that parish. So I would be fine moving there. But we've got to find a way to pay this house off and swing that note, because that would be a bigger note. And my husband, he can't take on any more hours than he already works. He works 12-hour overnight shifts, night shifts, and he had some months, well, right here at the end of the year, they're not doing overtime, and overtime is the only way we really make it. Well, we make it, but we make enough money to make it, but, for all the little extra things we like to do. But I think my priority this next year is going to be paying this house off so we can. And I'm going to tell him, we'll just keep making the monthly payments, and he'll pay the regular note and I'll pay a principal payment. Trying to get it paid off quicker, so we can actually look into financing that house over there, because my daughter told me that it is a mobile home, but she thinks it's bigger than what we're in now. And it's got like an acre of property, and my daughter's fiance was showing me all of that, and he's like, well, all of these barns over here are mine, because that's what I'm saying. I'm like, well, can I use one of them? I need one for storage. But probably what we will do is this house here will probably rip the walls. We've got to do something about the moisture problem. We still have a moisture problem in our house. And the inside of the walls are sweating, which we don't know that until we've got marks on our walls that they're sweating. And we just don't know how to fix it. So now, this being that this house is in my name and my name only, the first thing I would do is pay the house off and then sell the house, not the land, but the house. And then take that money and roll some back into like a tiny home for this property. And that way my son, because I don't want them staying in this house. This house is not safe for anybody to stay in, especially my grandbabies, because I don't know if this water stuff is growing mold in the walls or not. And just me, I don't care. I really don't care. This house was not meant to be a stay-in house. This house was meant to get my kids through high school, and once they moved out, I was moving on down the road. Well, now I got grandkids, so that changes a lot of things. So, I've chit-chatted a lot, and while I'm marking all my fabrics here, I've got making half square triangles. So, we're going to take a printed charm square. We're going to take our printed charm square and our marked square, and we're just going to sew on the lines, guys. So y'all hang in here with me. We're going to get some sewing done today, and I don't know if you can hear it, but my AC is on. And we have not been able to go without the AC. It has been an extreme humid heat, and it is just unbearable. I can't bear this kind of heat. So what I'm going to do is make it called for 20 of my charm pieces. So I'm thinking that's what we're doing. Let me make sure. We're making a total of 40 background and print and 4 print and print. Okay. So that's what we're doing today, guys. But, you know, just the fact that we're wanting to do that has kind of put me into overdrive. And knowing that I've got to, I'm always good at coming up with ways to pay things off. I know that's strange to say that, but that's what I normally do, and I get creative. Like a lot of my de-stashes, I will start having de-stashes. My plan is to try to have one every month, but I've got to narrow down things, and we'll talk about that at a later date when I give you my 2026 plans, because these are plans that I'm literally got to sit down, and they're just fly-by-night thoughts in my brain. You know, you ever have those? I do all the time. But they're just thoughts that are running through my head. What can I realistically do? And realistically, I know what I owe on my house, which is not a lot. I mean, we're in the downhill of it now. We're paying mostly principal now. Literally, we only have 10 more years on our mortgage, because every year I do pay additional principal on it. I try to pay at least $5,000 additional principal every year. And to me, that's just a good round number to pay on it, to pay it off early. But that doesn't, when you're paying mostly interest, when you make a mortgage payment, even though you make an additional payment each month, it doesn't pay it down real fast. But once you get into the principal bracket and your monthly payment is mainly principal, that does help. And I didn't start paying the additional to principal until my kids got moved out of the house, you know, until I had no more children in the house. And some years I haven't been able to do $5,000. I've only been able to do like $2,000 or $2,400. You know, so it all depends on what the ability is. I mean, as of right now, I'm going to pay it off like 1 year earlier than I would, you know, on my original amortization schedule. And I'm fine with that. You know, I'm fine with not hitting particular goals. You know, as long as I'm making that monthly payment, that's my main goal. But we have had times where My husband has been out of work due to surgeries. I've been out of work due to surgeries. And it's not that we don't get paid while we have surgery. For him, if he's had surgery and he's out for 6 weeks, he's lost overtime for 6 weeks. And his overtime, if he works 7 days in a row, his full 40 hours plus the overtime is at double time and a half. So he does that at least once a month, where he'll pull enough overtime to get that double time and a half for at least 1 week. And that really helps us, to cover a lot of things. Because, I'm just going to be honest here, without divulging, what we make. We live in Louisiana, so that's not it. We don't make a lot. But, of course, the cost of living here is not as much as it is in a lot of other places either. And I know it looks like I splurge a lot, but I really don't splurge a lot. A lot of things that I do now on fabric, yeah, I do, because I'm going to have a craft. I'm always going to be working a craft, whether it be quilting, sewing, cross-stitching, painting, something. I'm going to have a craft that I'm going to be doing. And all crafts are expensive. Most of my shopping that I do, I very rarely pay full price for anything. Just because I'm a tightwad like that. Like my husband, he wanted to get me something that I really wanted for Christmas. And so I went looking for it to find where it was the cheapest. I started looking for deals, looking for sets, and that's what we did. We found it and found the best deal, where we got almost $600 off of what I wanted. Now, granted, if we had paid full price for what I got, we would have paid about $5,000 for it. Maybe. No, we didn't. No. That was a different thing I was looking at. We would have paid easily $3,000. Easily. But everything we got was off. It had multiple $100s off. Like one thing I got was, I think it was like $700 off. And then one of the other things I got was like $500 off. And we are like huge deal shoppers. We want to find a good deal. We don't want to pay full price for anything. But now I'm having to get him to realize, some of the things, I'm not going to say that I buy, because if it's something I want, it's something I really need. Now, I know a lot of people probably just said, you don't need all that fabric. Most of this fabric will be used. A lot of this fabric was purchased when I was building my stash. And my taste has kind of changed between then and now on fabrics. So, and, and the turnabout of that is I'm turning around and destashing it and getting, some of my money back on it. But we are going to be probably next year focusing on paying the house off. That's going to be my goal anyway. He's never really wanted to live here. But like I tell you, I can't leave here because this is my house. I had this house before we married. And I need to be here to help with my dad and my stepmom and my aunt, So I can't leave here. Because if they ever need me, I need to be here. Now, granted, the house that we are going to look at And I told my family at Christmas, and I don't think they were really believing me when I told them we were looking at that house that was close to my daughter. I want to be there close to my grandson because I grew up where I live. My daddy lives down the road right next to me. There's a long driveway, and it's my daddy's driveway and my sister's driveway. My daddy is straight back, and my sister, you go down the drive a little bit and it veers off, and that's her house. Where my daddy's house is, there are two fields. They're just open fields between my dad's house and where my grandmother lived when she was with us. Well, we could always come in from school, do our homework, and then we'd go up to Mama's house, or we'd get off the bus at Mama's house and just come through the field and come home. And I want my grandson to have that ability. I want my grandson to know that when he comes home, that somebody will be there, you know. And I told my daughter, I just don't, when he goes to school, I don't know what we're going to do, because she and I both work, and I get off at 4:30, and sometimes she does, but mainly she gets off about 5. And I'm like, if he rides the school bus home, he may be home before either one of us gets off work. But I told her, I said, if that's the case, maybe talk to one of the other mamas in the area and see if he can ride the bus and get off with her child, and we'll pay, you know, her to get him off the bus, and for snack, you know, we'll provide his snacks when he gets out of school. I don't know. We're just going to have to figure something out, because if he's over there, there's nothing we can do, because he'd actually be in a completely different school district. He'll actually end up going to the school that I did when I was growing up. Now, her fiance wants him to go to the school that they went to growing up. And I was like, well, you know, I went to both schools. I went to the one that they'll be in the district for in elementary school. And then we moved to where we live now when I was in junior high. So I've gone to both schools. And both of the schools are good schools. And we were talking about it with my dad, and he's like, that's the best place he's ever lived. He really loved it there. You know, because we actually kind of lived on the other side of the parish. And I agree, it was a great place to live. It always felt like home to me. And I would be fine moving over there. But I don't know if my daughter's fiance would be happy with us living in his back door, even though it wouldn't be on his land. But I would love living that close to my grandbaby. And I mean, they move out there, then her fiance's dad would not live with them out there. Which I've always told him I didn't think that was a good idea. I mean, you know, when she brings home a baby and it's just her and her fiance's working off, yeah. But now my grandbaby's old enough, they don't need somebody else living in the house with them. I've just always told her that was a bad idea to have a parent living with them. And even though I'm 5 minutes away, she comes over on Mondays to do my floors, and that is normally about all I ever see them. Because I'm not going to bother them. I'm not going to get up in their family stuff, and I'm not going to go visiting every day. I wish I could. I would if I could, but I don't. So, friends, I'm just sitting here jib-jabbing about all the possibility things, and who knows, things may not even work out. That may not be where I should be right now. If it is, a way will happen. It will work itself out if it's where I'm supposed to be. But right now I am sewing half square triangles for this Charmed I'm Sure quilt pattern. Once again, this came out of the Soft Squares Advent box, and we are on Vlogmas Day 27. So hard to believe that the year is almost over with, guys. And I still have to get my trunk show for y'all. I've got 2 quilts here I've got to get done to add into it, but we will get that done. And I know I started this here at the end of the year knowing I need to get everything finished. But we'll add this in a whip. We can take a... Whips are not bad. UFOs is where it gets to be bad. When a project starts feeling like a job, that's when you need to put it aside and come back at later with it, or get rid of it. Share it with somebody else. Carry it to a swap or something. But currently, I think I only have 1 or 2 things that I'm not working on right now that I have started. And one of them is my time waster, my strip quilt. And that's fine. I mean, that's not one that's just whenever I don't have, or string quilt. That's just when I don't have anything that's really drawing my attention to it. And that's okay to have a project like that. I think most people do that with leaders and enders. Well, I do a string quilt when I don't have anything to do. Or I have plenty to do, but it's just when it's just not calling me, I'll pull my string quilt out. But here, you know, for the past 6 months, I've had plenty of things calling my name. And once I get this side sewn in, what I'll do is cut them in half and then trim them up. But what we're going to do today is just get the half square triangles sewn. That's the main thing today, is just to get them sewn. And I had someone ask in my comments about letting my daughter and her fiance put a trailer on my land. I only have an acre, and most of that acre is in woods, and it is very low. And in order for them to get a trailer and put it on my land, they would have to buy that land, because they only do land home financing right now. And I'm not able to do that because I still have a mortgage on the land. But if I had 20 acres, I would easily sell them an acre. You know, maybe not right under me, but close by. At the edge of the property. And this project here, it says it's quilts out at 40.5 by 40.5, and I think it was saying it's a beginner. Oh, it doesn't say on this. I thought I had seen somewhere where it was a beginner level quilt, but it's half square triangles, so if you're okay with half square triangles, then this is perfect for you. Or it would be a good quilt to get practice for half square triangles. And guys, I know I can't do this much longer today because I have got my husband had to go into work early. He had to go in today instead of tomorrow, which I told him I needed him today to be moving stuff out to the shed that I've been asking him for 4 months to take out to the shed. And while my sister and I were doing our early morning bargain hunting, he was taking a shower, getting ready to go back to work. And he knew I needed him today. He didn't have to take the call to come into work, but he did. So, he's doing overtime, which I guess maybe I shouldn't complain about it, but I needed him here today because now my house is not going to be ready for my son and daughter-in-law to come in. I have stuff in my kitchen that I've been trying to get him to take out to the shed for 4 months now. I actually have some stuff in there that I've been trying to get him to take out for a year now, because y'all probably heard me say this before. We're still in remodel mode, and which means we've got boxes of stuff in our kitchen and dining room where we were trying to remodel. I'm giving up on my kitchen being painted like it was supposed to. It's partially done, and it's not been finished. And every time I've asked, I've gotten an excuse, and I'm just not doing anymore. I've been nice for too long, and I'm not anymore. I'm not going to worry about it. It is what it is, and it's a bad paint job because it's peeling. I was told to get a certain kind of paint. We thought it would work, but it don't work. It peeled. And it didn't help that I had someone's child come and peel paint off my wall. Even though it's wallboard, it really didn't hurt the wall, but it peeled it. So guys, I feel like this is nothing but a complaint video. I mean, really, that's all I feel like I've done. But it is kind of a highlight of things that we're looking at doing this next year, hopefully. I've got all of those squares sewn. I've got 22 of them done. And hopefully next time we come together, I need to get a bin to put this in because I'm going to have loose fabric everywhere if I don't. But hopefully you guys are doing something that you love to do. This is a new pattern. It was in that box and I was like, let's do it. It looks like it's quick. It looks like it's easy. It's all half square triangles. Once I cut them, let me fold this up right here. This will be what I am making right here. It is called Charmed, I'm sure. Go to Maida's website. It's probably there. It's probably a free pattern. It says, follow and share on social media with hashtag Moda Summer Charm QAL. So quilts along. So we're doing our own quilts along with it, friends. But before you head out, please give me a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do. Feel free to leave a comment and tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And guys, I guess we could say this is a Saturday sew along, but not necessarily. You don't have to do this, but come along and sew with me. And as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a very blessed day. Bye, friends.